Hi.
Hey, what's going on, Mish?
Nothing. How are you?
I am good. We made it to hump day.
We did, yes. Love a Wednesday,
I know,
especially
seriously.
a
I feel
wine
like
Wednesday.
wine Wednesdays are the best.
Yeah.
Although, when you have a wine habit like I do, it's not as special on Wednesdays because we're always cracking into something new and using it as a learning experience, if you will.
That is true. Well, I'm going to be honest. It's actually a tequila Wednesday for me. I had no wine in my house. And here's one of my US Open glasses.
I mean,
From my collection.
hey, we can call it women, wealth, wine, spirits, what have you.
Yeah.
But if any of you guys have, it's so funny because Misha and I, we obviously come on here every week and we chat with you guys, and wine is really a staple that kind of gets us going with regard to what we're going to be chatting about. And so we always pick the wines together, and then we try, since she's in New York and I'm in Austin, to see if we can bridge the gap of something that's easy to find. But the problem is we're always trying to bring you guys new varietals. So they're not always easily accessible for Mish, but we've been doing better.
Yeah, I have found a few. I'll actually be in Florida next week, so I'm going to try to find more down there.
Love it. And tequila, that's my second go-to, so I'm here for it.
Right. You can't go wrong.
No. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. As always, we're going to do something a little bit different today. This is our 20th episode, if you can believe it. I cannot believe that we've gotten that far, but it's been so fun. So we're obviously going to get into the wine and rose and thorn. But before we do that, I'm just going to briefly introduce what we're going to be chatting with you guys about today. We're going to reintroduce ourselves for those new followers that have come along, and also just to provide you guys a little bit of a backdrop about who we are. And then Misha and I, one of the things that initially drew us to one another is we have a lot of the same, core values, if you will, and what drives us is really similar. So we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into our why and why we come to you guys every week and why we want to build this community. So super excited to chat with you guys about that. This has been a passion project of mine for a long time. And then Michelle as well, and we were able to join forces. So super excited to chat with you guys about that. But before we dig into that, obviously we got to chat about the wine.
Yes. Let's hear about it.
Let's hear about it, right? So our wine selection today is Daus Valle du Buffon d'Oro Branco. It's a 2021 vintage. This is a blend of a lot of grapes that I'm sure many of you have never heard of. It's 45% Malvasia Fina, 25% Rabigado, 10% Vicino, and 10% field blend, which basically means they don't know. It's kind of like the super mutt category for dogs whenever you get their DNA test. So for anybody who is unfamiliar, the Douro region of Portugal, it's basically on the side of a sleepy terrace hillside. Portugal is famous for port wines or dessert wines, if you will. So to have a still white wine from this area that's not a dessert wine, many people don't know that they can actually accomplish this. But what's beautiful about Portugal in general is you can get really affordable wines there. So it's a really good region to get wines that are going to drink well above their pay grade. It's essentially, run by the British Portuguese Simignon family, and has been for multiple generations, this winery. And they're one of the best port producers in the world, but they also do still wines, red and white dry wines. This one is super elegant. It's going to have a lot of complex notes of stone fruit, tropical fruit, honeysuckle, and then you can definitely taste that saline minerality on the back end. It's really, really crisp, high in acidity, definitely a summer wine. I know we're in September, but it is freaking hot here still. So I'm still drinking summer wines. I'm very excited to start moving into some reds with you guys. But full transparency, I'm a seasonal drinker and it does not get cold here until January. So I'm hoping that we get into, some holiday spirits as well, and then we can feature some then. But it's just been, we're going to be drinking Pinot Noir, if anything, when we get there, because it's just too hot.
Too hot. Not here. So cold here.
Maybe we can do a juxtaposition of what Michelle's drinking versus what I'm drinking as we get closer. she's definitely in a very different climate than I am.
That would be fun. You should send me like a red wine that I could go find, and you could give the background on it. So I won't pretend. I'm not good at that.
Misha's gonna learn, y'all. Watch.
Yeah.
She's gonna be out here presenting all the facts about the wine. I have full confidence in her.
We'll hear from our expert. That'll be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into our rose and thorn. Mish, why don't you go first?
Okay. Let's see. So I guess overall, if you live in like the East Coast, and I guess I don't even know if it's particular in New York, but we got slammed by a tropical storm this weekend. It was literally raining from Friday until yesterday, and it was like downpouring. It was really bad. But yeah, really bad. But I guess let's start with my thorn first, because I like to end on a high note. But my thorn was, since it was raining, I was supposed to go apple picking with my dad on Sunday. I think I was telling you we had this like annual tradition where we go apple picking upstate and we make a whole day out of it. But since it was raining, we couldn't go. So now we have to reschedule, but I'll be in Florida for the next 2 weekends. And so prime like apple picking season is the month of September and maybe like the first 2 weekends of October. But once you start getting like closer to the end of October, there's not really many apples. So, but hopefully when we go, there'll be a few stragglers left, or we can get pumpkins.
We're sending you all the vibes for the apples to still be there.
Thank you. So that was my thorn, but my rose. So I like did a little bit of retail therapy, and I really like needed like new clothes and new jeans, and I got some like really good deals that I'm very proud of myself on.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to see that haul. Maybe you can share on stories.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so that was my rose. What about you?
Love it.
Thorn, yeah.
Okay, well, my rose last week, so the 9/15 deadline passed. We're still in tax season, so we're still going to have the 10/15 coming up, but it's usually less stressful for me. So my husband and I booked a trip to New Orleans. My husband's whole family is from Louisiana. So anybody who is from the area or has family from the area knows that it's kind of a way of life and the culture is just really fun. So we hopped on a Southwest Sail flight to New Orleans and stayed off Magazine Street, which Magazine Street's just really special. Like the food's amazing. There's great shopping. Everything's walkable. The architecture is out of this world. So I literally, I mean, you know, this Sunday scary meme of just like slams laptop shut till Monday. Like I truly did that. Like Mitch and I did not engage with work at all. Just really took a few days away and like got to immerse ourselves in another culture, another town. And that's literally one of my favorite things to do. So that was really fun. And the thorn was on the tail end of that. When I was booking my ticket, I decided that we should leave at the butt crack of dawn on Monday morning to save a few dollars, which every time financially literate Jenny makes those decisions, real Jenny really regrets those decisions in the moment. So wish we would have spent, you know, the extra money just to leave at a reasonable hour. I don't know what I was thinking, trying to wake up really.
Early flights are not good, but especially Monday morning early flights.
No, terrible idea. And I like, honestly, like it was really stupid of me to do that because we were, we've booked like all of our Europe flights coming up. And I thought that to myself, like, I don't want to leave early. Like all of our flights are not early in the morning. Like I'm on vacation. I want to be leisurely. Same for this past weekend, especially since the flight to New Orleans from here is an hour. So like why, I don't know why I did that. That was really dumb, but lesson learned.
Yeah, exactly. We moved on.
We are moving on from that.
But good. I'm so glad you had so much fun. I was stalking you on Instagram and it looked like a lot of fun.
It is. If you guys need any rocks for New Orleans, I'm your girl. And honestly, you know, kind of on that same theme, for the month of October, Michelle and I are really going to be focused on the theme of burnout. I think it's a very important thing that is not talked about enough, specifically in circles of women and females talking about how they're impacted by burnout. And I don't know about you, but I was chatting with Michelle a little bit earlier, and I feel like so many of my girlfriends are reaching out to me and talking to me about burnout. And, there's levels to burnout, right? There's like moderate burnout, and then there's severe burnout, and then there's like mild burnout. And I feel like a lot of my girlfriends who are dealing with burnout are reaching out to me like almost when it's too late and being like, I'm so disillusioned. I'm just so disinterested in everything right now. And it's just gotten so bad. So Michelle and I got to talking, and we're really going to send her a lot of our content for this month around burnout and giving some tactical tips to avoid it, or deal with it if you don't avoid it, because we're not all perfect. So I think that, one of the tools that I've been implementing for a really long time is when you go through a season in your life and your business and whatever it is that you're dealing with of really intense work ethic, you should always hedge that with something. And I hate using self-care, and that's not what I mean, but you should hedge it with something that is going to feed your soul afterwards. And for me, that's going to a different city and eating all the food and experiencing all the things. And I really try to set that up for myself when I'm not in the thick of it, like way before. Like I set up this trip months ago because I knew that I'd be feeling that way.
Right.
So just getting, getting to know yourself and putting yourself in a position to be successful whenever you're going to be faced with higher levels of stress. That's a tool that I've had in my tool belt for a really long time. And it's something that I really recommend if you're a female that is, dealing with these sorts of feelings right now, because it's really common and I don't think it's talked about enough.
It's not, definitely not. And to Jenny's point, especially like booking a trip, as she was saying, after a busy season is like such a great kind of like tactics. I know, like, I feel like if I'm busy, but if I have something to look forward to, I feel like it just makes my work that much rewarding. And I'm like, even if I'm like thinking, I'm like, oh wait, like I'm going away like in a week. Like, all right, like I'll get through this. So
I feel like there's like little mini endorphin releases just in the planning and the preparation of it all,
Right. Yeah. And especially now, this time of year with the holidays coming up, stressing about going away, seeing family, spending extra money on gifts. It's a really good time, to learn more about it and to learn more about some ways that you could cope with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, guys. So without further ado, we are going to reintroduce ourselves for those of you that are new on our journey, just so that you guys can get to know a little bit about us, a little bit about why we're here. And then most importantly, I really want to dig into our why. For any of you who haven't read the book, Start With Why by Simon Sinek, I really highly recommend that book. It's a great read. And it also gives you clarity surrounding what it is that you're trying to accomplish in life and what drives you. If there's one thing that I've learned on my entrepreneurial journey, but outside of that, any concerted effort that I've made in life, there's going to be seasons and times when it's really, really difficult for you. And motivation is fleeting. It's always going to disappear, especially when you're going through it, right? When you're dealing with a hard time, motivation is not going to get you through that hard time. You have to have something that is more deeply rooted within you. And for me, that's my why. So I think it's important not only to keep that at the forefront for yourself, but also for everybody else that you're trying to accomplish a goal with. They should know about it as early and as often as they possibly can. And for us over here at Empowered Women, our aim and our goal is to cultivate a community. And when you have a community, the why behind that what is so important to continue to harp on and to continue to talk about. So we just wanted to take this opportunity to kind of dig into that a little bit further. So I'm going to turn it over to Michelle to have her introduce herself a little bit. Outside of being a badass financial maven, which she is, give us a little bit of an update on your background, who you are, what you do, what makes you tick, and then we can dig in a little bit to why you are so impassioned about empowering women.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I am Michelle Fuccella, and I am located here in New York, which, I'm sure you've heard. Talk about it a lot. But yeah, so I'm a financial advisor and also a divorce mediator, and I work with Forefront and Your Divorce Made Simple, and I've been with them now about a year and a half, and I've been in the industry about 5 years also, and kind of getting into my why and why I feel so strongly about empowering women and, teaching females how to be financially independent. So a lot of the times, like growing up, I saw my mom struggle with this, and she was very dependent on my dad. Like she didn't even know how to do like some of the basic things like balance a checkbook, things like that. And I like had to learn that role early on. So like I was in high school, like learning how to like pay bills and like balance a checkbook. And I'm like, okay, like, this isn't normal like teenage stuff that I should be doing, but I'm glad I went through it and learned it, because then now I could, teach others how to do it. And throughout her life, like she had a rough, and when she got sick, I was there, helping her and going through all these motions. And I like thought to myself, if I could at least like empower like at least one person to know that you're not going through it alone, and there's other people here to teach you how to do it and to support you, that would be my biggest goal. And also I had a lot of strong other female figures in my life, and they taught me, how to be financially dependent from a young age. And I feel that is so important, because you don't want to depend on, anybody else for anything. So I've learned to kind of like do it my own. And sometimes I can say like, that's bad. Has made me like a little stubborn. But I've learned to get past it over the years and can see other people's opinions now, or I'm willing to have others help me. But that's kind of a little bit, behind my why.
I love that. So it's funny because when I met Michelle, I knew her as, an amazing financial advisor, which she is, and she has so much insight to provide. But I didn't know all of these nuggets about, why she is the way that she is. And the more I got to know her, the more I realized that we have a lot of parallels in our life in terms of what drives us and what motivates us and what, takes us to the next level. And we want to have that connective tissue for other women, mainly because we didn't have it. And I think that if we can provide any of that for anyone, then that's a win in my book. Right. So,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, I just think that it's great. Like I love Michelle's story. I love what she has to offer. I've seen her work with other women, not only on the advising side, but just as like somebody who is an awesome person and a resource. So she definitely walks that out every single day, and it's really cool to collaborate with her on this project.
Oh, thanks, Shani.
You're welcome.
What about you? Let's hear a little bit more about you, where you're from, kind of like your career journey this far, and then tell us a little bit more about your why and what makes you tick.
Yeah. So I am Jenny Varteressian. I am a tax attorney by trade, and I will dig in a little bit more about what that means here in a little bit and how I leverage that in my business. But I'm actually an OG Austinite. We are unicorns around here. There's very few of us. So I am from Austin. I've lived here my whole life. I left for law school and a little bit thereafter, but my husband and I moved back in 2021. We were super excited to be here. It's changed a ton, but we love it. So that's why, like Michelle said, she talks about New York all the time. I talk about Austin all the time. We're both obsessed with our cities, and visiting each other's cities. So super fun. And as I mentioned before, I'm a tax attorney, which I never thought that would be a sentence that would be escaping my mouth. But here we are. I went to law school. I played sports all throughout my life. I played in college, and I went to law school just frankly because I was a pretty studious person, and I was always curious and I wanted to learn. And that's really what motivated me to go to law school. And when I was there, I'm sure you've heard, there is a lot of theoretical knowledge that is passed down, but, not a lot of practical knowledge. And not a lot of guidance or advice as to like what you should use your degree for. And when I graduated, the economy wasn't in the greatest place. So especially in the legal market, it was really oversaturated. So I had to figure out a way to leverage my degree to put me on a career path when I really hadn't thought about it in the past. And I landed a job in a very niche area of the tax space, specific to the research and development tax credit. Worked at a really large national firm for a few years, gained expertise, worked at a few boutique shops after that, and then started my own business shortly thereafter as a consulting attorney that not only provided insight and guidance on the research and development tax credit, but other ancillary tax credits that came out as a result of legislation such as the employee retention credit. And then also providing guidance around structuring from an entity perspective. If you're a small business, how should you set yourself up for success from a tax perspective? And then just providing strategy, in the tax landscape for business owners and other strategies that business owners may not know that they can avail themselves to. And I really realized that I fell in love with the strategy of it all, right? Working with somebody who is a business owner is such a privilege for me. And I got to identify opportunities where we can inject growth into the company, where we can use strategy for them to spend more time within their company doing the things that they love and the things that they're good at. And I really realized that I loved working with entrepreneurs because I am one and I understand the vantage point. In terms of my why, as to why I wanted to be involved in this project and why I wanted to start this channel and why I wanted to create a community of women. When I was coming up in my career in the early phases, first of all, I'm a female in a male dominated field. And I think I always knew that on some level, but it was really lost on me until I looked back in retrospect. I was the only woman in the room in a lot of scenarios. I was working and strategizing with only men. And then I realized that I think that women are uniquely situated to be able to be successful in the financial industry. And we're very relational. And I think that's a lot more important than a lot of people think, for one.
Yes. Yeah.
And I started to realize that, early on in my career, when I was working at that national firm, there was no semblance of work-life balance. I was experiencing severe burnout, like to the level of having to give myself a pep talk every day in the bathroom mirror. And I felt so isolated and lost, and I didn't feel like I had a roadmap in order to pull myself out of that. And I took a lot of lessons on the nose, and I learned things the hard way with regard to how to put myself in a position to be successful on my own and to develop the skills and the confidence and all of those things to do that. And I didn't really feel like I had a community of people that I could tap into when I was on that journey. And as a result of that, I feel like it really slowed me down. That being said, I'm super grateful for all the lessons that I learned going that route, because then now I know how to advise on what not to do. But it made me realize that if I felt that way, if I was feeling hopeless and like, there was no way out on that journey, that there's probably a lot of other women that feel the same way. And similar to what Michelle was saying, if I can provide any insight or any community or any resource or strategy for somebody to put themselves in a position that's going to level their lives up, whether it's in their career, in their personal life, what have you, that's a huge win for me. And that's something that I want to dedicate my time to. And we've talked before on this podcast about how I'm in Strategic Coach, which is a group program for entrepreneurs who are basically in it for the long haul and want to have longevity in their business and want to be able to set themselves up for success and to not burn out and to not burn the candles at both ends forever. And one of the tools that we've discussed in Strategic Coach is how to operate in your unique ability, which basically is how do you spend your time living the life that you envision for yourself and not being weighed down in mundane tasks day in and day out, and not waking up every day feeling like you have to go to work, but waking up every day feeling like you get to live your life. And I have dedicated my life to that. So I want to be that resource for other women because I wish that I would have had that resource for myself. And that is my aim and my goal for this channel, for this community, for everything, is to create opportunities that maybe we can't see on our own, but we can see as a group collectively. And the longer that I've owned my business, the more that I've realized that it truly takes a village, not even in the day in and day out of running the business, but just in the psychological aspects of the business too, and what's necessary, you know, in your life, in your business, because everything is cohesive. Everything is put together. You can't live your life compartmentalized. Who you are anywhere is who you are everywhere. And I truly believe that we can all craft the life that we envision for ourselves. Now, I'm not saying it's like a get rich quick thing. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's years and years of concerted effort. But you have to be taking steps and working with people who have those same aims and those same goals day in and day out to create that and craft that life for yourself. So that's my why. That's what gets me out of bed every single day. That's what motivates me to, you know, put forth this community, to chat with you guys, to be around you guys, is if I can help one person or provide one piece of insight, I mean, that's a win. And then on top of that, one of the things that Michelle and I have decided is we're going to, you know, bring on anyone who we think would be a huge value add to you guys. And all the guests that we bring on and all the people that I've had the pleasure of meeting, I've learned from them. And that's one of my tenets as a human, is to be a lifelong learner. So I want to bring on as many people as we possibly can that can give us the tools that we need to essentially level up.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Thanks, Jenny, for sharing that. That was amazing. But yeah, I remember like the first day I met Jenny, I was like, whoa, like, who is that? I need to be friends with her. But seriously, like, she's a badass, you know, woman, knows all the things. She's a wealth of knowledge in the tax space and obviously wine. And I just like enjoyed this journey with her so far. And I'm so excited to see where we're taking Empowered Women. Like Jenny was saying, like, our vision for this is not just to come on here, you know, every Wednesday and chat with you guys. You know, we do love that, but we want to grow it to something much more than that. And we're really excited to embark on this journey with you guys.
It's going to be so much fun, you guys. Michelle and I have so many exciting things coming down the pike. We will keep you posted. Follow us on our social. Follow us at Empowered Women ATX NYC on YouTube. But most of our announcements are going to be taking place on our Instagram channel, just at Empowered Women Live. So if you guys could give us a follow, you will be able to know about all the things that are coming down the pipe. We've got so many, you know, just amazing tools that you're going to be able to avail yourself to. And then we also have some amazing guest speakers that are coming on here shortly. We are bringing on somebody that is going to be talking about estate planning, which is very imperative. So I'm very excited about that. And we are also going to bring on somebody who has developed an app, who is going to be chatting about establishing financial literacy in your young kids. So I am very, very excited about everything that's coming for Empowered Women. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come with us every Wednesday. We know everyone's super busy. We hope that you enjoy the content that we're providing and the wines. If nothing else, we hope you enjoy the wine, because
exactly.
Not that I'm biased or anything, but they're good wines.
They are good wines. Yeah. And we love to chat with you guys too. So send us, you know, DMs, like comment on our LinkedIn, let us know your why and why you're passionate about the work you do.
Yeah, please tell us what motivates you guys. We are definitely super curious about it, and we want to have more of a conversation about it.
Yeah. So we will let everybody get back to their Wine Wednesday, hopefully with some wine or tequila. And
substitute wine/tequila. But we will be back next week, and we hope you guys have an amazing finish to your week.
Yes. Yeah.